Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone. This is me, Jonathan Alexander. I'm here to host our show, Life, Laughter, Happiness. Today, I have my co-host, Barbara, with me. Are you there, Barbara? Hello, Barbara. You there? Okay. Give me 1 second here. I have my co-host Barbara here, and she'll be here on soon. Okay. And then we're taking care of it. But today, what we're going to talk about is the gut feelings, you know. Let me see here. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, Barbara, are you there? Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Over here. Barbara will be on here soon. Okay. Let me try this again. Okay, are you there, Barbara?
Yes. It just
Yes.
went completely. Okay. I was here and you introduced and then boom, gone. I couldn't even hear you. Right. I hope you couldn't hear me.
Well, no, I couldn't hear you.
Okay.
But now our subject today is gut feelings. You know, going with your gut feeling as opposed to what would you say gut feelings are?
Well, I call it gut feeling for sure. That I just am old school like that, but we'll go as far as calling it listening to their spirit guides.
Right.
I still have not found mine, and I always misinterpret the question. My spirit guides, well, sure, Jesus has always been my spirit guide. I don't need any other spirit guide. But they're talking about your little girl inside. How is she feeling? What would she say? What would she do? Be in tune with all of these different guides. And also people use guides like Greek gods or angels. We've heard them many times, right, Johnny? The
right.
People who see into the future or spiritual counselors guiding through spirituality. Okay, they always talk about their spirit guides and they talk about being in tune with all of these things. Well, when you start listening and reading up on all of that, you realize it's just going full circle back to follow your gut. Really, that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's the intuition of following how you feel. You know, you really are feeling strongly about it. So that isn't really even the actual only topic of dissecting what is a gut feeling. No. But you just asked me, so I kind of elaborated a lot about
that. Do you have a time in your life where you went with your gut feeling?
Oh, my gosh. A time in my life. How about every single day? I mean, come on, Johnny. If you didn't have a good, intuition, basically, well, that's what it is. Follow your intuition. Then you've got a problem. Right. Because I wanted to ask you, though, because you ask that's too broad of a question. How about let's go the opposite way and narrow it down more easily with asking, was there any time that you actually went with your gut? You felt it so hard to go with your gut, and then the decision was wrong.
Well, I can answer that. I believe that there were times in my life when I went with my gut, but I learned from the decision, even though it was wrong. Like, it was, I tried to invest in a vitamin business, and I spent like $12,000 doing it. But afterwards, I look back at it, and I think, okay, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have.
But that wasn't a split decision. Johnny, that wasn't a split decision. You didn't just one.
Yes, it was.
Oh, you spent the $12,000 all at one time?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna make you feel worse, but okay, your gut feeling was that you really believed in this, but that doesn't count as much because you were probably sold on it by an amazing salesperson. You were manipulated into that. So are you telling me that you really, really, really did believe these people? That was your gut, or did you have any slight worry?
It was like I realized, I think, the stress of spending that kind of money, what it does, because it teaches you kind of like, okay, well, don't do that, And,
well, why didn't it work, though? You got all these vitamins and you couldn't sell them?
Well, it was not a very well-managed company. I mean, and also I feel more like now, like over the years, I think I've learned to kind of realize that I look at my checking account every day, I always, if I don't do something, I always say, okay, let's think about what I'm doing. I go with my gut feeling more because I think, okay, don't think longer ahead. If you really do this, what does this mean?
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that did happen to you, but you're right. Things like that do really make us learn, and so that is a great trait that you do have, Johnny, that you can turn the bad into a positive. But I just don't even think that's a very good example. Sorry, I'm not being offensive to you. I just think that is not that good of an example of really going with your gut. Maybe more, let me ask you about relationship. Because when you go with your gut with relationships.
I do have a gut feeling as an example where I went from my gut and it was a good decision.
Okay, let's hear that one.
I was, I was sitting around trying to think about what would be a good name for my podcast. And I thought about it, and I really, really did think about it, and I thought, okay, I don't like, in my gut, it felt weird naming it after myself. It felt really weird. It felt like I wasn't going to get anybody on it. I was going to feel like there was no community. I wanted it to be something that could potentially cover any subject. So I thought, okay, and I really sat down and I started visualizing things like life, laughter. I thought, okay, so I picked 3 words that were very good, that were would be inclusive. And then I chose that name. And that was probably a gut decision that turned out to be the right one. Because, for years later, I'm still doing it. And it has an inclusive vibe to it, So,
once you learn the title, it does flow. Once you learn Life, Laughter, Happiness, I think that so many of my people have heard me say it so many times, it just rolls off the tongue so easily. I was wondering if you thought about the words.
Like
the words.
Yeah.
The word you used, the life, laughter, happiness. But isn't laughter and happiness a feeling, and life is it's not a people, place, or thing. Is it a thing? Life? It's a thing.
Well, I think that it's an openly inclusive. They're inclusive terms. They they make you, the gut feeling that you get, because that's the subject for today, is that it's like it's easy for you to tell people about what we're doing because of the 3 words of the name. You can talk about it with anybody. It didn't. I mean, there wasn't me ever telling you, hey, Barbara, we can't do that. I wanted you to feel like you could, if you ran into somebody, that we could talk to them. I mean, it was, and I think that was a gut feeling to make that name. I still remember when I was laying in bed and I was coming up with that name, I thought, okay, this is going to be, really think of the name that's going to last. Think of a name that's going to be around. And that was what I came up with,
I guess life can be a noun if you think of it as the quality that makes people alive, substances, and not dead. But, okay, because life, that is the first word. And then laughter, isn't that, it's not like a thing, or what is that? It's not an adjective.
Well, laughter
okay, can you help me out with my English? I'm trying to decipher these different words. Life, laughter,
right.
happiness. Okay. Laughter and happiness seem like they kind of go together, like the same kind of word.
Yeah, they do.
Life, okay, laughter, that's not a noun. That's not a people, place, or thing. So that's
it's
a verb.
Is
that
verb.
An adverb? Okay, so why did you choose 2 verbs and 1 noun in the title?
Well, I didn't think
that was
about
always my
it
question.
I never thought about it as 2 verbs and a noun. I mean,
How about living, laughter, happiness? Living, laughter,
yeah. I wanted it
anyway,
to be.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have to make sense.
I did want. Right. It has to do with inclusiveness. It has to do with not sending people away. Making people feel like that they have
invited.
something. Right.
Inviting.
And
inviting.
And
good job.
And that's kind of what was. That was an example of a gut feeling.
Well, good job with that gut feeling, Johnny. Good job. You did a good job following your gut, because it is a great title and it's working great, and it is first in the search engines. I see a lot of people try to put few to 1 to 2 to 3 of those words. They try to put them in titles all the time, don't they? Don't they? They use that a lot, but there's only one life, laughter, happiness. Really, because I look it up, and it's really first when you just put life in there. It's like one of the top. So that's wonderful, and I think that is a great example of going with your gut, because
now
when I was thinking of titles, hold on. When I was thinking of titles for something, I got a few friends on the line, and I asked them what they thought, and they all thought something different. Johnny. But guess what? It wasn't their thing. It was my thing. So I had to go with my gut, not anybody else's gut. Because when I remember I made a decision in a very important audition, in the middle of an audition, my choice of how to act, like either I was going to be really mad or I was going to be mad but calm, cool, collected mad. So, for example, there's like choices you can make in acting. Well, my acting instructor wanted me to do it a certain way, and my gut was telling me not to do it his way. My gut was saying, go with my gut and do it the way I feel like I feel it. Well, guess what? I went with his way, and it was wrong. It really was wrong, and I regret going with his gut feeling instead of my own gut feeling. And that is a personal regret. So I'm sure everybody, if they think, they can find one of those in their memory bank. So the moral of the story, I think you do agree, is that you need to go with your gut. And
Now, I
love
think what's
yourself first, though, right? You need to
right.
love yourself
I will
first,
tell you
because
this.
if you don't have faith in yourself, if you don't love yourself, you can't have faith in yourself. And if you don't have faith in yourself, then going with your gut is like kind of a wishy-washy. It doesn't exist really. You're just like floating around. So get with it. Start doing your taking care of yourself, self-love, so then you can love other people to your fullest and get back to those gut decisions. All right, go ahead, Johnny.
Now, we'll tell you that, I would think a gut decision for you is when you decided to post for Playboy, because there are people that probably would have regretted it. But, I mean, you did it, what you did was you made a gut decision and you went with it. Am I right about that?
Yes, but you're not right with I bet point, because I've never met not one of hundreds that has regretted it.
Okay. Well, you're right. I guess you're right. I don't know.
I'm right with who I've talked to. I just don't think so.
Right.
I really don't. I've never come across one.
I guess what I'm saying is maybe at that point, maybe when you get to that point, you don't. I guess, I don't know, maybe some people just aren't, they don't want to be a model, maybe. Could that be possible, what I mean? Or?
Well, yeah, I guess those people probably wouldn't find themselves in a Playboy studio if they didn't want to be a model. So,
Yeah.
We don't even need any more examples. We've given a couple of really great examples, and that's about all we can do. So we also said that we were going to talk about some going with your gut examples from, yes, we don't need any examples. It's just like our memory bank examples. Let's just go to Thanksgiving and see if anybody has any gut feelings they went through that they had to use during Thanksgiving.
Well,
vacation.
I will tell you this. This Thanksgiving was right after an election. And, I have family members that voted very different, but we got in the room and we handled it fine, and we ate dinner, and we only talked about what we had in common, not what was different. And
I did not know
that.
I did not know that about your family. I did not know that about your family, that there were some major differences in the political views.
Major
really?
Political difference. Yes. I have one sister who's very Republican, and I have one sister who's very Democrat, and I have a third sister who I've described as a little more libertarian.
What about your parents?
It's just, my mom doesn't vote, but my father is a Republican, and it's
why? Why does she not vote? It matters in Florida a lot.
That's a long
we don't
story.
have to
I don't
get
know why.
into it.
Yeah, but I think that what's important is that they wouldn't all agree. I mean, it would be very, very, it would be really, really a screaming match.
Really?
I've seen members of my family. I've seen my, two members of my family get into screaming matches and then one leaving.
Yeah, but that's probably the two sisters. I'm thinking it's probably the two sisters, not your father.
Actually, it wasn't.
It was your father and your mother?
Actually, one of it was my brother-in-law, and the other one was my sister. And they were
the other sister. You mean the sister-in-law, or the couple?
What I'm saying is, it was my brother-in-law, not with his wife, but my sister's wife.
His sister-in-law.
Yeah, my brother-in-law and his
that
sister-in-law.
Makes sense. I get it.
And they were just going at it, and And
when was that? Not a Thanksgiving, let's hope.
no, it was my birthday.
No, not the last birthday.
No, this was years ago. This was years ago. But
yes.
it just that it was bad. I mean, you know, it's like you have these people that are very, I mean, across the aisle, you know, and and I mean, but you have to sort of come to grips with like what they have in common with them, not necessarily like my brother-in-law, who is very liberal, likes The Simpsons. So I always talk to him about The Simpsons. You know, I don't talk to him about I don't talk to him about politics.
That's fine. Okay, on another note about The Simpsons, what is it about The Simpsons that's so funny? Because my brother loves The Simpsons, and then when I was married, my husband's brother loved The Simpsons so much that he literally recorded every single, back when they had a recorder, recorded every single episode ever. So what is this with The Simpsons thing? This is funny.
Okay, you never found it funny, or?
It's fine. It's fine. I'm not into it as much as a lot of people.
Well, I think what it is that, okay, when you're growing up and you watch cartoons, and cartoons tend to be very predictable, you know, with how they do things and what they say and everything, and it's like Scooby-Doo. I mean, you know, the storyline is predictable. They always catch the person, they yank the mask off, and it's somebody else. In other words, there's not a lot of what you would call individuality. Now, what happens is that these people are sitting at home who are watching cartoons, are thinking to themselves, boy, wouldn't it be funny if they did this? Wouldn't it be funny if they did that? They sort of make fun. Simpsons makes fun of the things that you would normally not see in a cartoon. And
it's more it's geared towards adults.
Yeah, you could say that.
So it keeps interested.
It's like you have this cartoon family that pretty much does things that nobody, you would never see in a cartoon. Like you know, Bart Simpson is very clearly not a good example of how to behave. And what Fox does is Fox, they weren't really that interested in doing shows where there was this. They do shows where they entertain, but not necessarily teach. And The Simpsons doesn't really teach. The Simpsons just sort of makes fun of certain things. So you have this guy named Bart that's really much devoid of any characteristics, and you have Homer, which is pretty much an idiot. And it's just, that's what's funny about it. What's funny about it is that the things you would see on The Simpsons are things you wouldn't see in any other cartoon.
What about Rick and Morty? What about Rick and Morty?
I don't know about Rick and
Morty. Well, then don't say that. You would only watch The Simpsons for unpredictable adult jokes because you haven't seen anything yet until you watch Rick and Morty. On that note, thank you everybody for listening to Life, Laughter, Happiness. And Johnny, you had some amazing gut-filling examples. Thank you for that. Hey, everybody, remember to always go with your gut and nobody else's. Follow us here on Blog Talk Radio to get all of our show updates, and Life, Laughter, Happiness on social media, Life, Laughter, Happiness Radio Show on Facebook, and we're also on Instagram and Twitter. So, hey, Johnny, will you be putting this latest episode up on our social media for everybody to enjoy?
Yeah, I'll put up a link. All right.
At least on Facebook, as you normally do, and Instagram. And I'll take care of Twitter. So, or everybody. And Johnny, I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you want... Oh, actually, we do have 5 more minutes. Would you like to continue with any kind of story regarding the cartoon or the gut?
I can't think of anything, but it's what I was going to say about the cartoons is that I think what they're doing now is they're doing things in cartoons that they don't do in other cartoons that they used to do. Sort of like South Park. South Park is, South Park is unpredictable, but I think South Park was inspired probably by The Simpsons.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. There's 2 kinds of cartoons. There's the kinds for children, and there are... Well, it's animation. Let's not even call it cartoons because it's animated programs. And, children can watch it, but they are not as naive as you think. And they pick up things at 6 months old if you have something on the tube. So be careful, everybody, because these cartoons, we're talking about these animated programs like The Simpsons and Rick and Morty, well, they're actually geared for adults, and they have adult content in them, definitely. Right, Johnny? Right? Okay, so, but don't you agree that that's what happened is that the networks realized, hey, adults really actually... They love cartoons forever, yeah. So let's do some for adults that will be even more amazing. And that is, okay, South Park, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, first it was The Simpsons, then South Park, and there's Rick and Morty too. It's on Hulu. I don't know if you have that, but you can find it in a lot of other places. But it's about this grandpa and his grandson. And they all live in one house, the mom, the dad, the sunny daughter, and the grandpa. And so he's a scientist. And
I've seen it before. Yeah, I think I've seen it. And you're right. But I think it probably... Did Rick and Morty come after The Simpsons, though?
I don't know about that. But the only reason I'm into it is because it's Priscilla's favorite, and she has to see every single episode ever, just like some diehard Simpson fans. So she's really into it. A lot of people are. And I think you would like it. And so this grandpa takes the kid out of school all the time and takes him on these crazy adventures that are very graphic, actually. Violent, graphic, dirty, language, just really outlandish adventures in space, outer space, all kinds of creatures, and it's really cute. You can really get into it. So I do recommend it. By next week, when we do our show next Wednesday, will you have watched an episode so we can discuss it?
I've already seen one. My nephew showed me one. It was, but I think the point that he's trying to make, I think the point that you're trying to make is that this is a guy that really has no, the grandfather is really nuts.
He's nutty.
Right?
He's not nuts, but he's nutty. He's nutty. He's actually a genius scientist that can create anything, and he's quite an amazing person, actually.
Yeah.
And he pulls his grandson in almost all of these adventures. And the mom and dad, well, the dad that's his in-law. He throws in the towel most of the time. He's no competition for this scientist who's crazy, like you said. But I think you might really like it, Johnny.
Right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, everybody, and have a wonderful midweek. And we will see you Friday for Psychic Dale Shear, giving you free advice. All you have to do is call in. So we'll see you on Friday for that. Thank you, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye for now.